What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy T Line. Today I'm gonna show you guys how to not overcomplicate mixes, okay? Because some producers say that you have to engineer your beats and spend like an hour mixing your beats, when that's not true. While it's definitely important to still mix your beat and have a clean enough mix, like I said, you don't want to overstress it. So today I'm gonna show you how to mix efficiently and make it quick and easy for you. So let's get into it. All right, first I'm gonna play you a loop that I made, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into how I mixed it. So here we go. Alright, so first order of business when it comes to mixing, right? People are gonna say, oh yeah, you need to mix in speakers or monitors, don't mix in headphones. Lies. If your room is not treated and you don't have isolation in your room, then I would suggest not mixing in speakers, because you're not gonna get a good enough mix. Also, if your speakers, because my speakers, they're not the best. They're good, but it's not the best. Whenever the bass hits, everything ducks down in volume, and that's not good for a mix, obviously. So if you're gonna mix, get you a good pair of headphones. And what I recommend for a good price is Sennheiser HDs. These right here. Now I know it might be, I had these for a minute, so it's kind of busted, but these are still very good mixing headphones. It's comfortable and the quality sounds pretty good. In the past, I used to mix with speakers, and the mixes was kind of buns. But I started using these more, and trusting my ears, and the mix came out, actually pretty good. So headphones, a good pair of headphones, get that. Next thing, don't mix too loud, because you're gonna get ear fatigue. You want to mix at a reasonable volume, okay? So let's get into mixing this loop, or going back and remixing the loop. All right, so the first sound that I added was this piano right here, right? And so the thing about instruments like pianos, keys, guitars, they all have a low mid that needs to be controlled, right? So in order to have that clarity, you want to dip around 250 hertz. That's where the low end usually sits at. Okay, so I'm gonna raise this up so you can hear how it sounds. Yeah, in that range, that's where a lot of muddiness sits. Whether it's instruments or vocals, you want to tame that. So we're gonna pull this down a little bit. Yeah, so that sounds a lot cleaner to me, at least. And then sometimes to boost a little bit and the high frequencies, not too much, but just to my taste, for real. So yeah, that's the piano right there. When it comes to adding reverb, right, a lot of times reverb adds low end too, so you might want to go ahead to the low cut on any reverb and just take it out. That's what all of it taken out, and then when it's not anything cutting out, there's a slight difference in it, which you might be saying, you're making so many small changes that's not even significant. But reality is that it all adds up. So if you make minor improvements to your mix in each sound, eventually when you get to the full song, it's gonna sound a lot better than if you didn't do that. So just take note of that. So the next thing I added was this little lullaby preset from Hive, and it's like I said, I just layered it. And for the EQ, I cut out some of the highs because it was kind of harsh. So without the EQ, and then with it, it sounds a lot more softer. The thing about mixing too is that you want to know when not to add stuff. That's what I say. That's a very important part in my opinion, because people like they will add like 3 EQs to a sound, and you could just use one, or you probably didn't even need one at all for real. So just like take note of that. That's when I say like don't overcomplicate it. If it sounds bad, then handle it. So another thing too with mixing that people often don't do, at least that from what I've seen, it's important to pan your sounds so you can create space in the mix. Because if you have everything going down the middle, it's gonna like clash with each other with its like frequencies, and you don't want that. When you pan sounds, it sounds a lot more wide. It sounds a lot more wider, and like I said, you get a definitely cleaner mix. So yeah. And then that's why I did the same thing with this sound from Electric X. I panned that to the left too. So then I got some strings and I panned that a little bit to the right too. And it sounds like this. So when that combines with the piano and the other sounds, it's gonna sound like full, because that one's to the right and the other one's to the left. And I have another sound too that's panned to the right. That's an arcade. Yeah, not too complicated. And like I said, for this one, I didn't add anything to it, because everything that for all the effects, it was in the arcade VST, and I just messed with that for real. So sometimes in your VSTs, like you can just deal with everything in there, and you don't have to go to the mixer track and do it there. You know what I mean? And then I had a bass too that I added from Omnisphere, which sounds like this. Which simple, really. And this is only one melody too. Like there's many different times where I might have to utilize different techniques to mix something. This is just like one example. Like sometimes I might want to EQ my bass if it has like a high end like buzz to it. I will use a high cut filter to cut everything out that's too high. This one was comfortable for me, so I didn't mess with it. So then next, I feel like vocals are very important to know how to mix too, at least in melodies. For this vocal, I had to do some processing a little bit. So with nothing, the vocal sounds like this. So it's cool, but there's some stuff that needed to be addressed, right? So the first thing I had to do was go to Fruity Limiter and add a compressor to it. If you don't understand compression, pretty much is that it takes the low volumes and the low volume stuff and the high volume stuff, and makes it more level. So it's so like your audio doesn't go from like sounding like this to sounding like this. It's gonna make it sound a lot more equal. It's gonna make your audio sound a lot more equal. So you want to use a compressor. I'm not gonna lie, I think I do. I want to get some some third-party plugins for compressor, because I always use the stock plugin, which is not bad, but probably could be better. But what I usually do is that I go to usually it starts in limit. You want to go to comp, and then you want to go to threshold. So threshold is basically where the compression starts like to work. So if your threshold is like at negative like 20 dB, any signal that crosses that threshold is going to start to turn on the compressor. So like I said, I like to have the compressor like a little bit like pretty low, so negative 27 dB. And then I mess with the ratio, which is like how much the compressor turns down the volume. So I think for this one, for every decibel that the signal crosses the threshold, it's gonna turn it down by 3, I think. I'm still trying to understand the ratio, because I'm used to just 2 numbers, but this one has 3 numbers, so my bad. But yeah, just know the more that you turn up the ratio, the more that it's gonna turn down the volume, pretty much. And then yeah, so we got a compressor on the vocals, and then I like to have like a phone EQ on my vocals, so that at least for my melodies, so that it doesn't like take up too much space in the mix. Cause I want to leave space for an artist too. And then I have a reverb too, just to give it some more, some room to it. So with that, you get this. All right, now let's get into mixing the beat with the drums, right? So I got this beat that I made, and here's a little preview of it.
It's your time.
So you get the point. So the first thing that I do when I make a beat from a loop is I like to cut out the lows and low mids out the loop, because I'm gonna add a bass. Usually I will have an automation clip like right here, so that when I have a sub bass in the loop, the sub bass is not cut out. It'll it'll shine. But then when the drums come in, it cuts out, right? So the first thing that I do when I mix after that is just to start leveling. So for me personally, I like to start with the clap. Some might start with the kick first. With me, I don't know, I like basing everything off the clap first. So I go to the clap. And I know I said, to mix in headphones, but I don't right now. I don't feel like it because it's already mixed. But yeah, so usually, like I said, I would just go to the clap and I'll just level it until it sounds good. Sometimes I like to make a drastic change, like bring it down a lot when it's too low, and then bring it back up. That works too. But yeah. All right, and then next, I like to do the hi-hats. So and then I go ahead with some of the perks and the open hats. And then still, like I said, panning plays a role too in the drums. So for this open hat, gotta pan a little bit to the right. All right, so then the next thing that sometimes people might have trouble with is the kick and the 808. All right. So it's, at least for me, I like to have my kick and 808 hit pretty hard, but I don't want it to clip in the mix. So usually what I would do, sometimes if I want a hard hitting 808 but it doesn't hit hard enough, I'll go up to right here, go to pre-computer effects and tap on the right option, and then go to boost and boost it just like a little bit, not too much, just like a little bit to give it some more power to it. But yeah, so yeah, by itself it hits pretty hard. But then if I want to add a kick to it, that's like like harder, then I just pick a harder kick, and I might either put some boost to a kick or just pick a hard hitting kick. And that sounds pretty good to me. Don't worry about if your like sounds like clip like by itself, because it's gonna do that, right? But we're gonna take care of that. So thing that I always do on my master. Okay, are you listening? All right. So first, I add a saw clipper. So before anything, right? You see that? It's, yeah, not good. So I just add a saw clipper. Don't do anything to it. It still sounds the same, right? You know, it sounds exactly the same, but it's just my clipping. How does, like, you know, you're asking me how does it work? I don't freaking know, but you know, yeah. All right. So then next, I like to add a limiter. So I always take down the attack, or at least in sustain. Not sure what that means either, but that's how I grew up learning how to mix. So you know, I guess you want to do that, do that. If not, that's fine. But yeah, so I turn this down, that down, that down, and then sometimes I either go to gain and raise the gain until it sounds like distorted. So yeah, that's not good. And then I turn it down until it sounds normal again. It sounds right to me. If I don't use the gain, sometimes I go to the ceiling and turn it down so that it crunches everything, right? So if I'm using the ceiling, but yeah, I would like probably be careful with using ceiling because I mean, I don't use it as much, but you know, it turns down the volume to the whole beat. So me personally, I like to just use a saw clipper and then a gain to make it louder. But yeah, that's me. So of course there's, you know, different stuff that you might do for mixing, like, you know, side chaining stuff or, you know, automations and things like that. But that's more like, you know, creative mixing for real. This mix is just like to give you a basic start on, you know, having your beats sound clean enough and not having to, you know, spend hours on doing that. So yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed that mixing tutorial. Hopefully you learned something from it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. You know, hit my socials, and you know, yeah, man, we gonna make some beats for sure. You know what I mean? But yeah, make sure you have a nice day, and peace out. Yeah.